A good doctor isn't always easy, but health startup ZocDoc wants to tackle that problem and become the open table for doctor's appointments. The company has just released a new service called ZocDoc Check-In that makes the process even easier by letting patients fill out medical forms online prior to their visit. Corey Johnson is back with more. Corey, does that mean no more of those clipboards and those endless pages that you go through while you're sitting there?
Never.
No?
What would they do there with all those pens and clipboards and chains and stuff? But look, it is interesting. If this service were to catch on, and perhaps, I mean, we might be able to do some of that paperwork from the comfort of our home. Wouldn't that make sense? Well, joining me from New York to talk about ZocDoc, CEO Cyrus Massumi. Cyrus, Obama won re-election. 30 million more people are going to hit the healthcare system, which is already strained. Is this the kind of service that can help, and will it take off just as fast?
Yes, I think that you're right, we're seeing an increase in the number of patients, and there's no new doctors. And so if you look at Massachusetts, where they've had healthcare reform for the last 6 years, and they had a huge spike in patients and not a spike in doctors, it was even more difficult for patients to find a doctor. So being able to click a button and go through thousands of doctors within a second to find the one that has the open appointment time really has the potential, I think, to free up time for consumers. So we think the Healthcare Reform Act was designed for our marketplace.
Well, and indeed, and then there's just the difficulty of finding a good doctor when you're told, find an orthopedist. You're either stuck with the one that your doctor might have recommended, or you do what?
Well, it's a great point. We help people go through, and they can read reviews on doctors. We're one of the few sites I'm aware of where you can actually get reviews from actual patients, because we've confirmed they're actual patients. They booked their appointment through us and before leaving the review. And so patients can go through and see a lot of qualitative feedback. They can see the doctor's bedside manner, see the wait time if that's important to them, see the overall outcomes for the patients, and if that's really important for them, they obviously can use all this data to make an informed healthcare decision all on our site.
What's the toughest thing about building this business out?
I think at the very beginning was just getting people to believe. If you rewound the clock 5 years ago, people just didn't think that healthcare would change, and I think we've proven them that. We've proven that ZocDoc can change how people access to healthcare, and that people should have as easy access to doctor's appointments as they have to online travel or to online restaurant bookings. And that of course, has changed over time, and now it's really about hiring enough great people for us to grow our business and to get it in as many places across the country as possible. We cover about 40% of the United States right now, and we want to cover the whole country as quickly as we can.
I've got to imagine also it's difficult for some doctors to get them. I mean, I've got a wonderful doctor here in San Francisco, but the existence of a thing called email seems to baffle him. I would imagine he's not a likely ZocDoc doc.
Well, doctors have had computers in their offices for some form for quite some time. Since the early 80s, when the government mandated that Medicare payments needed to be made electronically, people adopted their first sets of computers. So most doctors have a computer, and all you really need is web access to be able to access ZocDoc. And so, if you were looking back 15 years ago, I think that may have been the case, or even 10 years ago. But nowadays, there's at least one or more computers in these doctors' offices, and so they've gotten that far.
Interesting stuff. All right, well, Cyrus Massumi, this ZocDoc business is a lot more interesting with this healthcare law coming full speed ahead. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.